You might have thought I forgot about it, but I didn't. After that explosive report that the largest funder of Al-Shabaab is the Minnesota Taxpayer, I wanted to see what the local media coverage of it would be. And as I suspected, it was almost nothing. Now, we are a week out from it. So there should be a bunch of reports, people looking into this, other journalists hammering this home. WCCO? Nope. Nope. Not a damn thing. Okay. Fox 9. Nope. Not a damn thing. Remember, the largest funder of Al-Shabaab is the Minnesota Taxpayer, KSTP, the one news organization that has been digging into the food fraud and all those other scandals. They only have information about the food fraud scandal. KARE 11, which, I mean, this is a joke. KARE 11 would never, ever, ever cover it. KARE 11 is so in bed with it, it's unbelievable. How about the Star Tribune? We're going to come back to them too, by the way. No, of course not. Why would they cover it? But they did cover it, and we'll get back to that. Because if you're from Minnesota, how do you think the Star Tribune covers this story? We all know. Let's just break with the suspense. Are Minnesota fraudsters funneling money to terrorists? Explosive claim has little evidence. Former U.S. Attorney Andy Luger said the 70 defendants his office prosecuted in the Feeding Our Food case were looking to get rich, not fund overseas terrorism. Which, of course, misses the entire point of the story, in that all money that goes through into Somalia gets taxed by Al-Shabaab. It's unreal. And I knew that the Star Tribune would not only not cover the actual story itself, but try to debunk it without citing any of the relevant information. Now, this is a pay site, and I certainly am not going to pay the Minnesota Star and Sickle a damn dime. The only one who has anything about this, is poor Alpha News. Republicans call on U.S. Attorney to investigate alleged Somali fraud schemes funding Al-Shabaab. That's it. Just Alpha. And Alpha is a great site. You should be looking at Alpha News. They cover Minnesota in a way that is actually more legitimate than any of the other websites I just showed you. None of which I'm going to put in a link here. If you want to go to WCCO, Fox 9, KSTP, KARE 11, or the Star and Sickle, go to their websites yourself. I am going to link Alpha, though, because Alpha rocks. And why does this continue? Why does the media not cover this? Because the people the media covers don't care. They support it. They absolutely support it. And I can show it without a shadow of a doubt. Just the other day in St. Paul, we had a raid of ICE raiding a criminal illegal. Law enforcement protesters clash as federal agents arrest in St. Paul. Wall says no heads up from federal authorities. Of course, why would you tell that SOB anything? St. Paul ICE raid. Leaders call for investigation into police use of force. So what happened? This is KARE 11's live streaming coverage. I am going to go at 1 1/4 speed here because, one, just to make it faster, and two, it's freaking KARE 11, and I don't really like giving KARE 11 any kind of publicity. But this is the neighborhood's reaction to an ICE raid. Remember, this is a neighborhood in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Specifically, this is the Phelan, Maryland Avenue neighborhood of St. Paul. A lovely, lovely place, by the way. I have a couple of clients in that area, and you only go there in the morning.
Okay, and the federal agents are still there on scene at this hour, Dave?
They are still on scene here. They're inside, like I said, home. Let's see if we can get a little closer here. I'm going to just walk a little bit here. We'll show you kind of where we're at here. They're about mid-block on Rose Street here. We'll just kind of take you up to the line here. So forgive the shakiness of the camera here. But let's just kind of take you here. This is the scene right now here. This is a crowd of neighbors that have gathered out here in protest of what is going on here. As we come up to the line here, you can see the line of St. Paul police officers right here that are trying to keep folks back away from this home. Just off of my right shoulder here, it's this house right here that the federal agents this morning have been focused on here. Again, we're still trying to determine what exactly brought these agents out here, but it has certainly prompted quite the response from neighbors over here in the Payne-Phelan area.
What brought those agents out there was a warrant to arrest an undocumented illegal criminal with whom they actually did arrest. That's already been proven. We're going to continue with this because there's a little bit of information in this video that I think is incredibly important, such as where they're getting this information, how they're getting this information, how it's disseminated, and the reaction there too.
Two questions for you, Dave. One, have you seen anyone removed from that home or detained by the federal agents? And two, do you have an estimation of how many people are there?
Yeah, we've not seen anybody detained from the home itself. I've seen at least 2 protesters detained by agents and by police out here. One was getting a little too close to the lines of the federal agents, and the other one was getting too close to the St. Paul police lines here. I would estimate here there's maybe 100 more, maybe more out here just kind of surrounding here. What you can't see is the crowd of protesters that have gathered on the backside of the home up towards Maryland Avenue here. There's a big, wide, vacant lot out here that a number of them have gathered up there. And I don't know if we can go to some of the video that we shot earlier, but they were forming a human chain to kind of protect what they thought they were protecting the folks inside the home from being removed.
But
as you can see there, pepper spray, riot control means were being initiated because the protesters were turning violent on the federal officers and on the St. Paul Police Department, trying to keep them back. None of the people who were detained have an arrest. So let's just also put that on record, too. The St. Paul Police didn't arrest anyone who was detained.
But to clarify, at this point, no one has been removed yet.
Not that we've seen. We have heard from a couple of neighbors that maybe one person detained, but we have not been able to independently confirm that as of yet.
You know, Dave, as I'm looking not only at your live picture, but also at that video, it looks different than a week ago in St. Paul, where we saw some pushing, shoving, things being thrown at federal agents. I'm curious, was it just the human chain? What precipitated the use of tear gas?
So from what I could at least see here, it was people, St. Paul police were asking folks to move back because, again, there was reportedly some sort of medical emergency going on in the house here. And so they asked folks to clear the street because this street has just been packed with the folks that are out here protesting, the neighbors that are out here. You can see a number of cars are also blocking the street here behind me here. So there was some sort of medical emergency allegedly here. They asked folks to move back. They refused. And that was the point that St. Paul police deployed. that OC spray and detain that one individual you saw with the skateboard in the video here that you're
You can
looking at right
see,
now.
yeah, in that video, you can see people rubbing their eyes from the chemical irritants that were being sprayed at them. Have you been able to talk to neighbors? Do they know anything about the family or the people who live in that home?
I have spoken with a couple of neighbors here. One of them told me there's at least 5 or 6 people that live in the home, young adults here. We saw a baby carrier in the window of the front porch before we got moved back here.
Irrelevant. Irrelevant. That's a play on your emotion. I saw a baby carrier. Humans reproduce. That's what they do.
So we don't know if there's any kids inside the home, but there have been some chatter here about possibly some younger adults here in the home here. We don't, like I said, don't know a lot here about who or what they may be after inside this home. But as you can see, it is, like I said, just brought out this neighborhood in force here, and it's in, obviously, with the events of last week, tempers are high. People are nervous. People are anxious, and this is the response from the neighborhood here.
So now comes the most relevant portion. I'm sorry that I kept this in here, but the most relevant portion is the app they're using to find this stuff out.
Yeah, Dave, and that has happened, now multiple times throughout the metro. And as you noticed when we first learned this was happening, there are several online channels where people are talking to each other, are alerting each other of what is suspected ICE activity. Is that how people found out about this? Is that how this protest gathered today?
Yeah, we have seen more and more people slowly dripping in here as word is making its way around the various digital media avenues here. Folks are sharing this online here right now. In fact, how we learned about it was a notification that I got from an app, and it was a live stream here that was showing what was going on in front of this home here. So that's how we found out about it here. And as you can see here, I don't know if you're looking at this live picture here, again, that large crowd of people here, again, St. Paul police trying to keep them back from the home here. But yeah, as I said, Lauren, a lot of this in this digital age, folks are finding out about this and they're showing up.
How does that link to the Al-Shabaab? The same people who will show up and physically confront federal agents on a lawful warrant, taking a criminal off the streets. A criminal off the streets are the same people who will look the other way when millions and billions of taxpayer money is used for fraud, flushed down the toilet, and inevitably used to fund the very organizations that are trying to eliminate you. It's unreal. Minneapolis and St. Paul are completely lost. And that's relevant because how they go is how Minnesota goes. Unfortunately, there don't seem to be enough of us in western, southern, and northern Minnesota to outvote the Twin Cities. And the guy who's responsible for all this, for the $1.3 billion in fraud and the $3 million that have gone to Al-Shabab, that guy is running for a third term. And according to the last poll, is winning by 7 points. He's winning by 7 points. These are the margins he won by last time. 11.5, 7.7, and 7 now. It's almost like there's a 7% difference between outstate Minnesota and the Twin Cities when it comes to population, because that's pretty much the only ones who are voting for him at this point are those in the Twin Cities. When he was in his last governor race against Jensen, he barely ever campaigned outside of the Twin Cities because he doesn't have to. So the same group of people who have no problem going and confronting ICE who have no problem confronting the police are the same people who have no problem having the largest fundraiser of Al-Shabaab be the Minnesota Taxpayer. They have no problem with it. They probably support it. My guess is that very few of them actually pay taxes. Most of them are leftists. How can I say that? Well, look at the voting trends of the Phelan, Maryland Avenue area. If it was any bluer, it would be navy blue. It's unbelievable, the self-destructive nature of the people in the Twin Cities. But I just wanted to bring up, I haven't forgotten about this. I'm still looking at it. I'm still watching it. As somebody who actually cuts a check for taxes, yeah, I'm watching it. I'm kind of offended that my money is going to this. Very offended. I'm also offended in the fact that the media won't do a damn thing about it. They won't bring it up. They won't mention it. Water off a duck's back. Water off a duck's back. East Dakota. The people of southern, western, and northern Minnesota need to do some serious thinking. St. Paul doesn't represent us and hasn't for a long time. The people in the Twin Cities would have no problem continuing to fund Al-Shabaab. Do you? I have an issue with it. But I just wanted to bring this to you. Thanks.